that they're selling you, that's the only way to do it. So when I see an article on how Monsanto only has organic food in their cafeteria, you know, and you can look that up on the internet. There was an article that was posted on the internet about how Monsanto was serving only organic food in the cafeteria because, you know,
They won't eat their own.
Yeah, they won't eat their own
stuff.
food.
So how, you know, that someone that's going to be like that, why would I support or believe anything that they do whatsoever if they're going to be that much of a hypocrite? So there's just no reason, and that's why.
Monsanto's been in the game for a long time with like war chemicals.
Oh yeah, it goes all the
You
way
know,
back to Agent Orange and all that, and yeah, I mean you can find a long
A
track
lot of
record
it
on
is, you
them.
know, using our food chain as a disposal place for hazardous waste.
Yeah, that is true. If you poison just a little bit of people, you know, over a period of time, you can get away with it and make a lot of money, unfortunately. But yeah, there's a lot of different reasons here. Again,
They sleep at night.
I think they're
They can't,
eugenics.
they have to take
That's,
drugs.
yeah, that's true. They have to take their own.
You know, they just not have a conscience.
They're eugenists. They're trying to lower the population.
Yeah, I mean, if that's your goal, then and you want to stick to that agenda, apparently, right? That's one way. I guess you can justify it to yourself and sleep at night, maybe. But
Right.
yeah, I would say not that I think organic is the end all be all because it's still, you know, a certification from the government, which
Sustainable.
it's supposed to be non-GMO, which
Wild food
is
is actually
something.
better.
What is?
Wild.
Yeah, that's all
Grown in
true.
forest.
If you can, well, if you have access to forest food or, you know, your local farmer, you really have to find out what's the best available for you. But if you're going to the supermarket, you know, you probably are better off buying the organic label versus the inorganic, which is very, very highly likely to be genetically modified, especially nowadays because of the cost. To find out more, Jeffrey M. Smith had an awesome documentary in Genetic Roulette that documented health of genetically engineered food. So if you want to learn more about that specific, I guess, back and forth between organic and GMO, take a look at that one. So on that regard,
I got a question.
oh sure, go ahead.
How do we know something is organic just because
They
they
say.
say it's
It could be
organic?
And you
USDA
don't.
certified.
That's what's.
I mean, I know this lady, she grew up on a chicken farm.
Yep.
And she knows what an organic chicken looks like.
Sure.
And she recently was in Colorado, and
Mhm.
she, didn't know the area, but she goes to some grocery store, and there's
Yeah.
a chicken there. There's regular chicken was $8 a pound or something, and whatever.
Yeah.
And these organic chickens were $12, $4 more.
Sure.
And she knows for a fact that what Stephanie says it was organic was not organic.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no, because she grew
And
up and she
that's-
knows every detail with the chicken.
At the end of the day, you really don't know unless you know your farmer. So
Right.
step one, grow it yourself, then you know exactly what it is. Step two, make friends with the farmer, then you can actually go see the food. And if you can't do that, you know, do your best. And if you're buying stuff at the market, over time I think you're gonna probably do better buying the organic versus the inorganic, because with the information nowadays, this stuff is gonna eventually get out there and it's gonna start shutting down all these companies that are say they claim to be organic and they're not. People are eventually gonna leak this stuff out. But you know, if you're buying stuff that isn't organic, it's just very likely to be genetically modified unless you know who it's coming from.
I would say this, if I can interrupt.
Sure.
A lot of markets will put out, like lemons and oranges that they say, there'll be a sign that says they're organic. They don't have an organic sticker on them, that
Mhm.
means they're not USD certified.
Yes.
So watch out for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do we really trust USDA?
No.
No,
I mean, look at what they
no.
certify.
So that's why it's
I
the
would
word of the
say
farmer. If you trust-
Certification to them is a kiss of death.
Yeah. If you trust your farmer, get to know the farmer. That's going to be the biggest thing. But unfortunately, most people, I'd say 90+% of the people I meet, you're getting your stuff from, Whole Foods, Sprouts, HEB, something like that.
Local farmers
Wheatsville.
markets.
And at that point, if you're buying the organic banana versus the other non-organic banana, you're probably just going to be better off buying the organic. It's not that much more expensive, 10, 20 cents a pound.
Yeah.
And at least you have that level of,
At least some of it's organic.
yes,
I
exactly.
want to say something very important.
You know it ain't organic.
Very important about organic. I don't know if you're familiar with what Dilo dirt is. in
Yeah.
Austin.
Austin makes it out of the sludge
Okay.
from the
What's it
the
called?
sewage
Dilo
system.
dirt.
Dilo?
Dilo dirt.
Dillo dirt.
Austin makes it.
D-I-L-O?
Yes,
Like armadillo.
yes.
Dillo dirt.
It's human waste.
Is that our sludge?
Okay, the cities.
For landscape.
The cities in the United States have commonly used it to spray on parks. Okay, it's not supposed to be on anything that is going for human consumption because it's human waste. But it's being used by organic farmers because it's organic matter. So we have to be very
Is it
careful.
fertilizer, does it help plants grow?
No, yes, no, anything
It's
that
compost.
anything
It's a
that is
compost.
poop,
It's a sludge compost.
anything that is poop, be it from goat, chickens, humans, or anything, it makes fruits grow. Like you can use human poop and you're gonna get sweet, beautiful strawberries. So for many years, the government placed a restriction on not using dilute dirt to put on vegetables, but now it's being used as an organic food. And there is now danger of organic foods too.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, know
Right,
your
yeah,
farmer
because
is kind of what it comes down to, so.
Is there danger of E. coli from that?
No, the danger is that
It's already clicked out.
all the medication that we take gets absorbed by the vegetables and the fruits because it doesn't break down. So basically when you're in that
Birth
organic food,
control hormones,
yeah,
maybe?
yes, everything.
Sorry
It's
to
going
interrupt
into your
you.
system.
Good.
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
danger.
yeah,
And I wanna make a plug.
Thank you.
sure, go ahead.
So, I got to work with the slow money movement, and they're a group of investors that were backing up the slow food movement. So slow food is like, you get to know your farmer, so instead of fast food, slow food, so you go to your farmer and they have like little dinners at the farmer's place, and they have community subscription agriculture. So a farmer can say you're a member of his farm, and every month he'll give you a box of food. But it will be whatever he made, like not like, oh, you want 1,000,000 tomatoes and 1 cantaloupe, you know, it'd be like whatever. So it's like a monthly magazine subscription,
Right.
community subscription or something like that. But with the slow food, slow money thing, like the slow money, like not with me really, but the 4 years that they were doing work here, and it wasn't a certified nonprofit, it had raised like $1.5 million to help bring the slow food growers and producers. They could have been gluten-free products or chocolatiers or farmers who are raising grain, like organic grain for the cattle and whatnot. But that's a pretty decent way to plug in is the slow food movement. So it's just like a plug that, you know, and it's already developed infrastructure.
Yeah, they're doing that with the trees, fast-growing, genetically modified trees that they're using to build homes with and the wood.
I know.
Strong.
Guys, he's the speaker.
No worries, always, whatever can help
Well,
people,
not
of
all
course.
fast-growing food is bad because moringa
Yeah.
goes in 1 year like 20 feet or so and
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
But yeah, so slow food is just an accurate, like a word for just reversing fast food, you know, it's just different, it's just getting to know your farmer, it's a whole movement.
So on the aspect again of genetically modified versus organic, one of the interesting things is canola oil, which you're gonna find pretty much everywhere nowadays. I mean, I find it unfortunately in so many prepared foods that I would like to consume, but I don't at, you know, Whole Foods, at Wheatsville. And genetically modified canola oil is made from genetically modified rapeseed. So it used to be called rapeseed oil, and apparently people didn't want to buy things that were called, you know, rape. So for marketing purposes, it was, according to John Thomas's book, during the late 1980s, what they did is the rapeseed oil, or the canola oil now, was fed to cows, pigs, and sheep. And when they were fed this oil, they went blind and started attacking people. So when they pulled the rapeseed or the canola oil from their diet, there were no further attacks. So, you know, an interesting study, I'd say. You know, if you want to do more research, I don't know, but you know, they gave this what everyone is eating now in the form of canola oil to these animals, and they went blind and started attacking people. I don't know if that's something that I want to be having on a daily basis in my diet.
So there's no such thing as organic canola
There,
oil?
no, it's all genetically modified. That's what's completely, it blows my mind how they're, you know, getting away with this idea of this, and it also says non-GMO, but like,
Rudy.
it itself is a genetically modified oil. So it's like now we're getting like to the second level of genetic modification. So you can genetically modify something, and then you can take the second level and say now it's non-GMO on that second level. So it wasn't genetically modified twice, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
And it's just the things they do, and you can just always find more knowledge. So just keep doing more and more research. One thing I came up with too, and what I personally do, I actually only drink distilled water. I've done so for about 3 years. Apparently I'm still here, so it hasn't killed me yet. But the biggest thing in my book that I talk about is the idea of organic versus inorganic minerals. And what they'll tell you is that if you have distilled water, it's going to strip your body of all these minerals that it needs. When in effect, there's two types of minerals. So don't let the terms organic and inorganic with respect to minerals get confused with organic and inorganic with respect to the fruits and vegetables. Okay, this is completely different. So the organic minerals that your body needs is something you need to stay alive, and you actually need even things like arsenic, like like gold and silver that we were talking about before, copper. These type of minerals your body needs. Inorganic minerals, actually your body cannot process. So there are things like, say, a tree would pull from the groundwater, and they could actually use their root system to get rid of it. Whereas with us, one of the main things in water, despite all the other stuff that you can find in there, stuff like fluoride and birth control and hormonal regulators and stuff like that, the calcium carbonates. And so if you look, you put only distilled water in your iron, in your car radiator, and stuff like that. And the reason is why is because if you don't, it forms that white film, if you've ever seen, from regular groundwater. So what ends up happening is, a lot of people who are not drinking the distilled water, if you're having the tap water, the groundwater over time, all that inorganic, the calcium carbonates just accumulate in your body, and you end up turning into a statue, essentially. So if you see, as people age, and if you can't move as much, if you start getting stiff, neck and joints and arthritis and everything, a lot of times, it's a lot of the food you eat.
That's why I moved over here.
And it's also all these calcium carbonates, getting stuck in your body. And so a couple of the studies I've read, by the time you reach middle age, your organs have had to filter out a life-size replica of yourself, all of these inorganic minerals through your organs, and not all of it gets flushed out. A lot of times it gets stuck. So if you start switching over to distilled water, it'll help pull and strip all of the inorganic or the dead minerals out of your body. So if you want the other minerals, you can add minerals back to your water. So I like the longevity. The Dr. Walsh is a great longevity product. You can actually just have distilled water, mix some of the vitamins and minerals in there, and you'll have all the organic vitamins and minerals you need, and none of the bad groundwater in there. So all distilled water is it's heating to the boiling point, so the impurities are separated from the water. It's done that twice, so it turns into steam, drips back in the water, and then it does it a second time, and then that's the water you actually drink. So there's no solids, minerals, or trace elements. There's no taste whatsoever. And what I like to do, I like to mix it with cucumber, lemon, and mint. Tastes absolutely amazing. So I have a glass container in my fridge, put lemon, cucumber, and mint in there, put my distilled water. After I distilled it, I have a link, if anyone's interested on my website, I have a link to, I think it's $140. It's called the Love Water Distiller, and it lasts. I've never bought any type of water for the past 3 years. I just use my distiller. And I mix that with in my glass container with my lemon, with my mint and my cucumber. It tastes absolutely amazing, and that's what I have in here actually. So.
Well, the distiller, what does it look like?
Different
it's
ones.
There's a lot of different ones. The one I have is about this big, like this. There's a top and a bottom, and you just pour water in, put the thing down, and you push the button, and it drips right here. It just drips in the glass container that I have. Very simple.
Is it similar to pH in your water? Is it similar to having a pH?
Sounds like my burp.
Yeah.
It's similar, but they do different things. The pH water is going to change the actual pH from acidic to alkaline. What this does is it literally strips your water of everything that's there. So the pH isn't actually going to change the content of the water. It's going to change the acid-alkaline base. And a lot of there's other filters. I think work pretty well, but the only way that I know of to get everything completely out of there, so you're starting at base 0 with your water, is to use the distiller. So why take a chance of having anything in there, get everything out of your water, your body still needs water, and then put in your body what your body needs.
But does it get electrolytes out of it too?
Well, it pulls all the inorganic stuff out of there. You're not getting any of that from the water. If you think about the tap water you drink or wherever you get it from, none of that stuff is in there. You think and again, every bottled water company is different. There may be some bottled water companies out there that have, say, these good electrolytes or whatever, but you're probably paying so much more than it's worth. And who knows what type of stuff they're putting in there. They're probably putting in the cheapest available ingredients they can find. You're better off getting the distiller and putting it in yourself.
So your distiller is actually electrified, like it actually has a heating element and it's vaporizing it?
Mhm.
Okay, so it's
Yes.
not just a filter, it's actually.
No, it's not a filter,
It's
yeah.
doing a distillation process.
It turns it into vapor,
with
yeah.
vapor. What,
It's a steam distillation, so it turns it into like the vapor of the steam, and then it drips, and then it does that a second time, so it actually goes through the whole process again, and then it drips into your glass container. So
well, just to let everybody know, I mean, I get deionized water from Whole Foods and
Mhm.
it's very close to distilled and it's 45 cents a gallon. And I think they taste the same. I mean, it's like extremely close to distilled.
yeah,
So it's just 45 cents a gallon. And
Don't get any plastic bottles.
I use plastic bottles right now because I just can't afford glass.
EPA is actually responsible for the whole breast cancer epidemic in America.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. There's a lot of evidence on that.
And
Absolutely.
testicular cancer.
Yeah,
And hormonal imbalances too.
very true. And then on top of that, what I like to mix my water with, here's a few couple examples. I think just some things you can add to your daily life routine that are really simple and really cheap. So this is a daily digestion drink that I take, and it's actually what I have in here right now. So I use my distilled water that I have the lemon, mint, and cucumber. I mix it with apple cider vinegar, which is Bragg's. It's organic with the mother. That's kind of my favorite one. Some organic cinnamon, and then some stevia. They have a liquid extract, or we actually have a powdered form through the Burke Superfood line. And it tastes absolutely amazing. The Bragg's drink actually makes something similar that they sell like this much for like $2 or $3. But you can make this, a month's supply of this would probably cost you less than $10.
Watch out, apple vinegar kind of can mess up the enamel on your teeth.
And that's why if you mix it with other stuff, I always recommend if you're gonna take apple cider vinegar, you mix it with, into another drink. And then, yeah, you can add organic vitamins or minerals, the longevity, whatever you want to with that. You have something you can drink all day that I think tastes really good. You can change the cinnamon, you can put other spices in, you could try a little bit of your juice, but it's just amazing to take, especially after you have a meal. It'll help actually break down a lot of the food that you've just taken in. The apple cider vinegar is really good for that. And another one here is what I'll use for mouthwash or oil pulling. So what I'll do is first thing in the morning, sometimes at night, what you do is you just take like a regular spoon of coconut oil, put that in your mouth, and then take another spoon of the baking soda. I like the Bob's Red Mill or whichever kind you want. And just swish it around in your mouth for 5 to 10 minutes. It helps pull a lot of the toxins out of your mouth, your teeth, your gums. And
Clears your skin.
you wanna, oh, absolutely, yeah. Especially if you ever had fillings, stuff like that. And then afterwards, I'll just rinse it out with my distilled water. So you wanna make sure you spit out the coconut oil and the baking soda, and then rinse with the distilled water for another minute. Make sure you get everything out of there, because remember, it's pulling all that out of your mouth and your gums, which can contain high levels of toxins. And so you obviously don't want to swallow any of that and get that back in your system, or you're going to have to reprocess it again. You're kind of just like changing where it's located. So that's another great one. You can do more research online with, oil pulling is kind of a big topic.
Do it every night.
And yeah, I'd say every day. I do it morning, sometimes nights. Yes, question?
I thought that you're supposed to switch it for 20 minutes.
Well, if you have 20 minutes, you can go for 20 minutes, but I normally, depending on how long it takes you to get ready in the morning, do whatever. It's better to do it than not to do it, so use your time available. I don't think there's like a set time where if you do it for 19 minutes, you're not going to get any benefit, but if you do it for 20 minutes, I think it's just, obviously the longer it's in there, the more it can pull out.
Okay, that's
So,
it.
yeah. with any of these, it's better to do something than to do nothing. So the juicing, if you're even gonna do it once a week, you know, it could be amazing. The distilled water, if you just slowly start switching that, if you add in a digestion drink a couple times a week, just doing any of these things, I think you'll start getting some good, good health benefits.
So you put dry baking soda in your mouth?
Yep. With,
How much do you put?
mixed with coconut oil.
How much do you put?
Oh, you
So
didn't
it's-
say that.
Yeah,
I
that's
thought
what
it
I
was
did.
switch with coconut oil,
Yeah, you
and then
put-
you swish with baking soda?
So you
No,
first,
you
it's
didn't.
like, I just grab a normal kitchen spoon, the average like teaspoon or whatever the size that is, and just scoop coconut oil, or it's probably liquid now if it's warm, so you can just like pour some in your mouth. And then the baking soda, just like 1 teaspoon, boom, and then so it combines together, and you can kind of just swish it around. It's liquid, it's not gonna be,
It's the best way to alkaline your blood.
yeah, so that is great.
Good, that's what I need.
Shrink cancer,
So let's see here.
shrink tumors.
Baking soda.
Baking soda. Sodium bicarbonate.
Yep, so
Yeah,
there's
then
a
they'll be getting rid of
few.
that.
It tastes terrible.
Oh yeah, this is a great one. So I just wanted to get into now a little bit of how most of the top pro athletes in the world are doing some form of some of the things that I've described. You know, I'll get into some of the quick yoga stuff, but one interesting article here: Tom Brady, who was with the New England Patriots, you know, MVP, Super Bowl quarterback, and everything. I don't know how many people know this, but this is a Sports Illustrated article from, what was this, December 15th, 2014. This wasn't even that long ago, but apparently, according to this, it was, let's see, perhaps he celebrated with ice cream, though his would have been made from raw ingredients, mostly vegetables. He favors an avocado base with cacao mixed in to mimic chocolate, which is one of the exact recipes we have in the book, actually. And how many people actually know, too, that Tom Brady actually owns a Chinese Oriental medical clinic? So the center that Tom Brady owns is run by a 49-year-old California native with a master's degree in traditional Chinese medicine, TCM, which is the same thing that Dr. Elisa has. And teammates describe Alex Guerrero as Brady's Mr. Miyagi. And so another interesting thing that he said is, you know, this guy Guerrero challenged all of his previous notions about, you know, what he had to do to recover from injuries and, you know, be a better athlete. And he had issues with his forearms through lifting weights. They became short and stiff, and so what they did is they did a lot of things like yoga to make the muscles longer and more flexible, more like rubber bands, says Brady, so I can throw thousands of footballs and not worry. So there you have, you know, one of the best athletes just doing yoga, you know, to make himself better at sports. And another interesting quote in here was, in the summer when it's time for cold property foods, his diet is mostly raw. He subscribes to the 80-20 theory, but it's not 80% healthy food, 20% unhealthy. It's 80% alkaline, 20% acidic. So Tom Brady's eating raw chocolate cacao avocado ice cream, raw food in the summer, and is eating 80% alkaline food. And that's why teammates always see him with hummus, raw snack bars packed with nutrients, and what one teammate calls that birdseed stuff. So, this is mainstream media right here. So, you know, people probably just glanced at this article and was like, oh, Tom Brady, you know, really good, I'm just going to read it. But how many people are actually reading these articles and understanding what these guys are doing? So, you know, you're going to see how, you know, here you go is one. You know, you'll see articles forever about how Ray Lewis may or may not have been involved in some shooting over, you know, Super Bowl weekend. But how many articles do you see about Ray Lewis doing yoga? You know, I do it for a lifestyle, and that's a better motivation, Lewis told ESPN in 2010. So, you know, he's been doing yoga for a very long time. And do you ever see that on the news? Is that on ESPN?
Jocks thinks it's gay.
Now make
So,
fun of
you got
him.
Victor Cruz, one of the best wide receivers there for the New York Giants. Has his yoga instructor Gwen Lawrence since 2004. You got Vernon Davis, the tight end for the San Francisco 49ers, who especially likes the Bikram yoga. So the Bikram yoga studios here in Austin are pretty amazing, actually. I'm a big fan if you've never tried it. The owners are really compassionate with people if you haven't done it before. It's yoga in a heated room, and the heat really allows your body to expand and kind of stretch out into positions that you're not used to. So it's definitely a great way. They have some good beginners classes where if you haven't done yoga before, you can definitely try to, get in there and really start doing the basics of yoga. And all the idea of yoga is getting your body back to its natural, perfect self. And so over time, what happens is a lot of people, if you're used to sitting in certain positions, like right now, like I'm standing, but everyone's sitting. And so what ends up happening is when you're younger and you go to school, you sit all day long. And then after that, you get your brand new car when you're 16, or maybe not, but then you sit the whole time you're driving for the rest of your life. And then you go to school for college and you're sitting the whole time. And then you get a job and you get to look at a computer screen if you're unlucky for the rest of your life. And so what ends up happening, everyone is in this position, and what it does is this is your psoas right here, part of your hip flexors, and it actually comes all the way up, attaches to your spine, and it's the second strongest tendon in the body next to the Achilles tendon. And so what I see all the time with people I'm working with in training is that everyone that has low back issues that I look at, one of the first things I do when they tell me about their low back issues is I check out, their psoas and see, can you do the splits both ways? And, very few people that I talked about that can do that. And the problem is it's pulling your body like this the whole time, which puts all this pressure on your back. So if you just envision your entire body, right? Just envision your entire body as a whole bunch of rubber bands. So, you got rubber bands here, 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 here. All your tendons and ligaments are just rubber bands pulling together. And if over time you keep doing this, these rubber bands, right, they have the ability to stretch or to come closer together. And so these rubber bands, your second strongest rubber bands in the body, get pulled over like this. And that puts all the pressure on the back. And then if you're especially lucky and you're a female and you get to walk around in high heel shoes and your heels are up like this the whole time, then you actually get the added benefit of shortening your Achilles tendon, which is the strongest tendon in the body. So, especially for females that have back pain, you've got your strongest tendon in the body shortened from your high heels. You've gotten your psoas and your hip flexors shortened by being in a seated position the whole time. And that can put enormous amounts of strain on your back. And which is why, a lot of times when people get into more of the yoga and Pilates, they can get relief from a lot of that. And that's how, Celia and, Ashley's mother and everything were able to get over a lot of their pain by doing the healthy nutrition and the yoga. And it's just putting your body back in the balance that it needs to be. So, if you go to work and you sit in front of a computer screen for 8 hours, maybe you need to spend 8 hours, in the position that's the exact opposite if you want to balance that out. Luckily for us, we don't need to spend that much time. If you can spend an hour afterwards stretching, a lot of times you can get some pretty good balancing benefits. But if you spend your whole life without doing that, you'll start noticing some amazing benefits right away doing some yoga. So here's just a few more examples. The New Zealand All Blacks, the rugby team, and they've been doing it for a while. They, allows them to relax and do visualizations. And for people that like baseball, there's Evan Longoria, the third baseman for the Tampa Bay Rays. And again, he's using it, especially the rotation in your core to be able to translate into power, which is a pretty important thing in baseball. Here you have Mike Krzyzewski, the Duke USA basketball coach, who apparently has been doing it for a while. This was Darren Williams took a picture of this. He was the USA basketball coach as well. And you also have Kevin Garnett, who was a pro basketball forward, and it looks like he's been doing yoga since 1995. And I mean, probably never seen this in ESPN or on TV or on the news or anything. You got Shaquille O'Neal, former NBA player who had been doing it for a while. And another interesting thing too, well, I'll go through a few more of these. You got Kevin Love for the Cleveland Cavs, right there doing it with Ken Kadich, who also has worked with guys like Dirk Nowitzki and Baron Davis. There's good old LeBron James doing some yoga at a charity event there at the Cleveland Clinic. And one important thing for him is he said yoga just isn't about the body, it's also about the mind. So the mind-body connection of yoga. And he's been playing, he plays almost the entire game, so he rarely gets rest. And again, he says, does it work for everybody? I don't know, but he says it works for him. So you got, who's considered to be one of the best basketball players in the world here subscribing to yoga. And so getting a little more specific, the idea of yoga asana, which everyone considers yoga. It's the idea that you're just gonna hold a certain position for an extended period of time. There's a lot of yoga classes where you do a lot of movement, but to really get some simple benefits of yoga, you know, if you go home and you watch YouTube videos.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but if anyone here is driving a black truck that parked in the alley here, it's being towed.
Oh, shit.
Let's go get that. Sorry,
Black
guys.
truck or black Tahoe?
Truck.
It's being towed right now.
I know there's people that are.
Alrighty. Make sure that your cars are not parked, yeah. I actually park, there's a street, I don't know where everyone parked, but I park in, there's a street right there that's usually paid, but after 6 o'clock, so far all the lectures I've done have been after 6, so then there's no, everyone can park there for free.
Yeah.
It's always
Where?
kinda nice, so, what's that?
Where at?
You see the McDonald's, so on the opposite side, this.
Where the
not-
bank, back,
No, there's so if you're looking at the McDonald's from, was it MLK? So the bookstore's on the right side, and there's McDonald's, and there's an alley, there's a one-way street right there. There's a parking garage, all that's free after 6 o'clock.
what about
Monday
for
through
Chase
Saturday.
Bank? I mean, that's free after.
Maybe, I don't know if I trust them, I see people all the time just kind of chilling there, waiting to tow people.
The parking garage.
The parking garage
at night.
things are all over.
I think you're right, yeah, that whole street, so, yeah. Just make sure everyone knows, because I mean, the first time, a couple
Make
times
sure
I
not
came
towing
here,
my vehicle.
I didn't know, and it was like, I'm glad someone warned me, so I always try to let
Yeah.
everyone know, especially, so.
Oh,
Back to this, the idea of yoga asanas is, it's just one aspect of yoga, but it's probably the one everyone wants to really focus on, so just if you find a position or a part of the body, especially the psoas, or your Achilles, just find a good stretch for that and hold that position for a long period of time. You can do it while watching TV, watching a movie, reading a book. Just find a good yoga stretch, and if you have a specific issue, you know, let me know. I'd be happy to show you which one to do. And just hold that for like 5 or 10 minutes, and that's what's really going to give you that benefit. Because when you're sitting behind a computer screen or in the car, you're sitting in the same position for an extended period of time. So you just need to find something similar to offset that position you've been sitting in. And that's what's going to give you that benefit of that release and allow yourself to balance and get a lot of health benefits from that. So, let's see here, there's another one. Let me see. So yeah, here's a couple of the sources that I was using here, just if anyone's ever interested in the links. And all the books that I have that I went over actually are for sale here at Brave New Books. And a lot of the products too through the Burke Superfoods line, and I would definitely recommend them to anyone as far as if you're trying to add some stuff to your nutrition, whether it's the stevia, the cacao powder. We have a raw vegan protein, which is pretty amazing if you're transitioning to a plant-based diet and you're worried about how much protein you need. So a lot of the bodybuilders, that we work with, and a lot of the pro athletes will take some. We have like a hemp protein. There's a brown rice sprouted protein and all that. But again, the key thing is, back to the basics, align yourself with nature. Let me see, I'll bring that one up again. And the closer you are to nature, the closer you are, the foods that you eat are to where they were grown in the ground and the farmer who grew them, the better off you're going to be. And the further you get away from that, that's when you're going to start having all these issues, unfortunately, that people tend to have, possibly here more so than a lot of other places around the world. So thank you all very much. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any now, or if you feel better afterwards, that would be fine as well.
I just, with the, like almond milks and hemp milks and all this stuff, basically, are those carbohydrates?
Well, you have to look if it says the carbohydrates. Like a lot of them, they can put a lot of sugar in them. So you have to be worried about, the companies are trying to balance their ability to make it taste good and make money versus the benefits of the health for you. So if they know, like there's people like me going around telling people to look for almond milk and hemp milk, and they can load it with a bunch of maybe sugar in that, and you'll buy it and it'll taste good and you'll feel okay with that, you really have to watch out for that. So you really have to learn how to read labels. That's one thing I would suggest to everyone. Learn how to read, the serving size. So anytime you see the serving size, multiply that times the amount of grams you see. So if you see 5 grams of sugar and there's 3 servings, that means if you have that whole entire serving or an entire carton or package, it's 15 grams of sugar. And it's the same thing with the protein and the fiber, any of that. So really learn how to read those labels and understand if they're actually trying to trick you based on the serving size or based on what they're actually putting in it. Because I've seen some crazy things, like you'll have something this big with 20 servings, and oh, there's only 3 grams of sugar, but there's 60 grams of sugar in the whole thing now because there's that many servings. So you can make up whatever serving size you want. You know, there's not necessarily a specific serving size. So really, just really start focusing on reading those labels, and everything you buy, just read the label, read the ingredients too.
I mean, something like hemp milk, is that better than almond or soy?
It all depends on the person.
If I'm gonna be like using milk for cereal, I'm thinking like carb on carb, you
Yeah.
know?
Again, every person's an individual, so try what works for you. Try each of them out and see what that works. So if you're trying to balance that, get one with more protein maybe. That can
Okay.
balance out and with more protein and fiber versus, you know, a lot of carbohydrates and sugar that you mix with the cereal.
And just one question on that is about dairy do you feel that the probiotic benefit of yogurt is relevant?
Not really because of the dairy aspect. So a lot of times, right, I mean, you can get your probiotics from a lot of better places, I think, than actually utilizing the dairy. So I'd go with a kombucha or something like that if you're really trying to get the probiotics and the enzymes, you know, me personally. Sure.
I think you can also get healthy probiotics from the cabbage, like
Cabbage,
cabbage,
fermented, yeah, any fermented foods, any fermented.
Kimchi.
kimchi,
Kimchi.
and also,
Yep.
do anybody knows what tibicos are? Tibicos? Tibicos?
What?
What is it?
Tibicos.
Huh?
Okay, tibicos,
Ribas?
do you know?
No, go ahead.
No?
No.
I'm surprised.
Spell
Okay. Tibicos is a mushroom, or it's really an organism similar to kombucha,
Mhm.
but it looks like little jellyfish, like little gelatin, like whitish.
What do you call it?
Tibicos. They
Where
have
do you
many
get
names.
that?
They have many names. They
How
have,
do you
they,
spell it?
Tibicos, tibicos. But they have many names. You can look it up on the internet. It's like kombucha,
Uh-huh.
and it's an excellent source of.
Anyway,
cool, yeah.
When you have the drink, when you do the drink from the tibicos, it tastes like kombucha.
Awesome,
Yeah,
yeah.
I did it for many years, and it's wonderful because you can get a lot of stuff from it. There is the water tibicos, and there is the milk-based tibicos. You cannot mix them up. If you get the milk-based tibicos, you can only use milk.
Okay.
When you go to the store, any supermarket, and you see those liquid yogurts,
Mhm.
Kefir?
kefir is made with
Kefir's,
tibicos.
Kefir, oh, I know, it tastes a little different
Kefir
than
is
the
made with
acidophilus.
Oh, gotcha, okay,
Okay.
makes sense now,
Yes.
So if you do fermented cabbage, how long does that last?
I think my friends have one that has been in their garage, so the full Las Vegas heat and sun for several years now. So, yeah, I mean, each one's gonna be individual, but some of the fermented foods can last quite a long time.
I did some cabbage, but I put it in the fridge after 3 weeks. Is it
I
good in
think
the
the
fridge?
fermented foods, from my understanding, is you're not supposed to refrigerate them.
Oh.
And so the kombuchas that I make, you know, you don't refrigerate those. I don't refrigerate those afterwards. I leave them out and I drink them right from there. So I think there's different fermentation processes for a lot of different types of foods. So you might want to check with whatever you're trying to do, and then find the specifics on the best way. There's so many articles online now if you're trying to do something in YouTube videos that you can really find some good information
Is
on that.
brine considered a fermentation process?
Is what brine?
Brining with
Brining?
salt?
Brining is pickling.
It's not any
It's
fermentation?
different.
I don't
Okay.
think it's different.
No,
Yeah.
it's different, yeah.
Because some people I had taken a class from up at the Buying Mirrors event in North Cali a couple years ago, we were making sauerkraut with salt.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's how it's made.
Yeah.
But I thought there was a fermentation process at the salt, like in the
Well, the salt
heat.
ferments with the cabbage, and it turns into the.
So it's still a probiotic?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, fermented foods are great. That was another category that I would very much suggest to really start trying
Yes.
out. There's a lot
Instead
of
of
health
yogurt.
benefits to be there.
So do you
Yeah.
use distilled water, like if you ferment cabbage, you know, you're supposed to put water in it?
Every
Yes.
single thing I do, yeah.
Distilled.
It's funny,
Yes.
I was telling my
Yes,
parents
distilled water.
about the distilled water, and a lot of times, even when I talk to people now, they'll tell me something like, oh yeah, my mother used to only drink distilled water, or my grandparents only drank distilled water, or something like that. And it's funny, I told my mom was like, oh yeah, there's a one plant I have that I only use distilled water on, and it grows so much better than all the other plants. And I'm kind of sitting here like, why don't you use the water on the rest of the plants?
Right, on all the.
And give it to yourself too, obviously. Sometimes, I know sometimes people treat their plants and their pets and everything better than they treat themselves, but.
I thought distilled water didn't have no minerals or vitamins in it, and nothing.
Yeah, I kind of went over that a little bit earlier, but it's, what it does is it strips out all the inorganic minerals. So there's organic and inorganic minerals, and so you need to get your organic minerals from your foods or something like a longevity. The mineral source is very good there, but a lot of the times if you're just drinking groundwater, it's inorganic minerals and calcium carbonates that are going to accumulate over your body. And it's the same reason you don't use distilled water in your iron or in your car radiator, because it'll form that white kind of sludge which accumulates over time.
Then you gotta use Coca-Cola.
And then finally you use the Coca-Cola to get it out, right? So yeah, you can add the minerals back afterwards, but you're really not getting anything the body needs from this groundwater and from the say tap water
So
essentially.
how about you get water out of the thing that's purified water, like osmosis water?
Yeah, it still is not going to get out all of the distillation, the steam, vapor distillation is the only way I know to get everything out of your water. So that's why I do it.
It's true. I mean,
Osmosis
they're just
don't work?
Well, no, they work, but they don't get everything out essentially. So especially the biggest thing is like the groundwater, those inorganic minerals that are in there that will gather in your body over time, and which is a lot of reason as people get older they get stiffer and they're not as flexible as they used to be. It's because you're just gathering all that stuff in your body over time, and it's accumulating and it's hardening, just like it would do, anywhere else if you just got the groundwater
What
out.
does distilled water do then, you're saying?
It helps clear, it helps pull all that out. It helps pull the inorganic stuff that's in your body out.
What about well water?
Well, you have to check it for every different, if you're getting it from, say, Fukushima, you might not want to drink it. But if you're, if you have a pretty good source and you can, say, tap into the springs or something here, I obviously you want to get your water tested. It certainly wouldn't hurt to distill it, essentially, but
You got so much glyphosate everywhere, man. It's probably gotten into.
I would totally agree. Yeah, that's why I would actually
You think it
check.
filters through the sand and everything?
You'd have to check every one's going to be an individual. There's not I can't give you a specific answer for all groundwater, but he's right with the amount of stuff they're spraying now, even in the air. I mean, what are they spraying from all these planes? You can watch what in the world are they spraying, and there's farmers that are testifying that they're spraying aluminum and barium chloride on their plants. So of course it's going to go in the water. So again, worst case scenario, my last stop, whatever water I have, it's going through my distiller before it's coming into my body. So I know there's nothing in it.
You got a distiller?
It's like $140.
$140 online. You can go to my website. There's a link to it and
I
everything.
mean, I can make a gallon or two a day.
What's
How fast does that distiller work?
Four,
know, but-
4 hours. I think you can do a gallon and a half or 2 gallons
Okay.
in 4 hours. I do it overnight, and there's enough for the day.
Okay.
Is yours stainless steel? Is it a stainless steel distiller?
Yeah.
It's
And
called
how many
Lux,
gallons
I
does
think.
it do?
I'm worried about
I think it's
that.
1.5. I want it. It's a glass container. It fills a glass container about this, about that, every 3.5 hours.
I'm worried about stainless steel.
where
with
is
the
your,
Berkey
website?
water filters. It's the stainless steel actually, have metal deposits.
Well, it'll accumulate on the bottom, and you have to clean it off.
I know aluminum does, and that is probably part of the reason we have so much Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
So I say, get a copper vessel.
Yeah, that would be
Nice.
ideal. I mean, if you can, and if you can find a good one that they make. So
Copper's expensive now.
I don't think they actually make that.
you're right. I don't think they do. It would be
So
something-
stainless steel is
Yes.
best, I mean,
What's
next.
the
one I
name
have,
of
I
the
think, is the
distiller
stainless
again?
It's if you just go to Google and type in "Love Water Distillers," it should pop up. And you can always go to my website too. I have if you go to the homepage of my website, which is ryanmuetzel.com.
Oh,
Slow
Ryan,
down.
Oh, it's right here. So ryanmuetzel.com, and I have cards if anyone wants. I can give you a card.
Yeah,
out
that
there.
one?
So on the first page of my website, actually they have them in the bookstore.
But you have all that information and you meet us.
On my, yeah, my meetup page has it to my website and everything too,
Yes.
yeah.
Do you also have, I wanna get an idea, like, how many groups do you have, like, I wanna get a picture of, like, how many hats you wear?
Well, a lot of different stuff, I guess, whatever people are interested in learning, but
Okay,
we have the show we're putting on here at the Zach Theater, we have, we're building the medical center, we have the Superfoods line, which is getting out. I do a lot of training, personal training, nutrition consultation. Work with anyone, a lot of high-level athletes is, a lot of people that I've worked with in the past.
and that book that you say is essential, are you selling that?
This one, yeah, they sell all these books here, so these are all the
Oh,
ones.
okay.
This book is all Nourishment for the Spiritual Warrior, and all these, what is it?
What was the name? I walked in and.
Oh, yep, Nourishment for the Spiritual Warrior.
And how much is it?
Sure, you have to ask, I'm not sure how much they're selling it for. And then all these are available here too, all these individual little ones, this is mine, and then all these other. These are kind of like the own person's testimonial essentially to what they had going on and then what they did to either reverse their pain, get off pain medication drugs, or get over a back surgery that was scheduled and
And
everything.
like for the group that is building that hospital or that clinic, can people join or support it in any way, or how?
Yeah, absolutely. Once it gets finished, we'll
Oh,
as soon as everything is done, we'll certainly let you know. I mean, I'll make sure I stay in touch with everyone here and.
like when will it be ready, like in a year?
Hopefully a few months, depending on, I think we're finally getting over this next permit issue we've had for a while with the city, so, I mean, we can build it now, but we have to wait for people to tell us we're allowed to build it, apparently.
What, you're gonna open up like a health hospital for?
Well, it's gonna be like a Chinese medical acupuncture, we're gonna have a food truck there, so we're gonna have, some really amazing juices, raw, vegan, healthy foods. And then, yeah, a place for patients to come and also do like yoga, meditation, tai chi, martial arts.
So you're gonna have classes? Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
I just want to pop in something about earthing, grounding. Have you read the book Earthing yet?
No, I know a decent amount about it, and
Okay.
I've seen that before, yeah.
Okay, cool. So basically, I mean, there's science going on about the electrical sort of static in our body and how it changes when we touch the earth, and we're effectively